Myles Garrett has requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns. Super Bowl week is officially here. Bears? Bears? Are the Bears going to be lurking here? We'll talk about it all here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Thank you guys so much for helping us cross 116,000 subscribers this weekend. Let's keep the train rolling. Hit that subscribe button for free and daily Bears content. When big rumors like this pop up, we discuss them. And hey, like every Monday, we'll be live this afternoon around 4 o'clock Central Time. So subscribe and join us for that as well. In classic NFL fashion, even when the NBA has extraordinary news like Luka Doncic getting traded to the Lakers, less than 48 hours later, they say, no, we're going to take back the headlines. Myles Garrett wanting out of Cleveland, and obviously this is a Bears show on YouTube, so we'll mostly look at the Bears angle of this. Could they dive into the potential sweepstakes? Let's get to the news part of it first, though. Garrett's statement, part of it, not all of it, obviously. As a kid dreaming of the NFL, all I focused on was the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl, and that goal fuels me today more than ever. With that in mind, I have requested to be traded from the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Browns company line is we're not trading him. Obviously, Garofalo and others have said no plans to trade him, but that's what they always say, right, publicly with these stars. They're going to answer phones. They're going to be at least open-minded to what they could get in return for Garrett. Because what you don't do is concede that you're going to trade him, because that doesn't help the trade value. You sit there and say, yeah, there's no scenario where we trade him. You hope that drives the price up, and ultimately then you make a decision whether or not to trade him. Doesn't mean they'll for sure trade him, but to act like there's no chance they would, you haven't been watching professional sports enough. The Mavericks just traded Luka fucking Doncic. Like, anything can happen. And trading Myles Garrett at 29 years old when the Browns are bad, it would not be that shocking. If you're the Bears, obviously you're at least making a phone call here, right? Because everybody knows what the Bears' biggest needs are. Trenches. Offensive line, defensive line. Sure, O-line's a priority, but Myles Garrett is such a premier player that if you could acquire him without just burning the farm down, you absolutely entertain that if you are Ryan Poles and with the counsel of Ben Johnson, Ian Cunningham, whoever else would be involved. Now, the financials of this, Spotrac breaking it down, any new team trading for Garrett who has 2 years left would owe him $19.8 million this year. That would be his cap hit this year as well, so that's really affordable, obviously. And then $25 million next year, also really affordable for a player of Myles Garrett's talent. The Browns' dead cap hit, by the way, his current cap hit, I think, is either 17 or 19 million with the Browns. If they trade him, it jumps up to 36. So that kind of tells you that they're going to want a premium offer if they're going to be willing to take on that type of dead money. Spotrac also projects that on an extension, which I would assume any team trading for Garrett would be ready to extend him. And remember, Poles extended DJ Moore with 2 years left in his deal, and the advantage to doing that is you keep those future cap hits a little bit lower, so even if you give him 4 years and $137 million, which is, what is that, quick math, just under $35 million per year, well, if you kind of space it out over 5 or 6 seasons, you kind of see the point, and that number lowers on an annual basis. How much would you give up for Myles Garrett? And I don't mean in a contract. I mean in a trade. How many picks would you throw some players in there? Basically, send your best trade ideas down in the comment section below. I want to hear from you guys. And later on in the show, I'll explore some trades as well. But you let me know. Are you giving up 2 first-round picks, a first and 2 seconds? What's that price? Let us know. Because Matt Miller, ESPN draft analyst, says the Bears should offer picks 10, 39, and 41. So their first and both second-round picks this year. I think in a vacuum, a first and 2 seconds is pretty fair here, but I'd rather keep one of those picks this year so I can at least secure an offensive lineman or at least a young player in this draft, and then offer a 2026 second or whatever the case may be, because I think the second round in this draft is kind of a sweet spot. So you could get a good offensive lineman there or a running back or whatever the case may be if you are the Chicago Bears. So I'd rather say, hey, here's 10, 41, we're going to keep 39, but we'll throw you our second round pick next year, whatever that looks like. Again, we'll explore some trades later on in the show. it would be a bit of a tough pill to swallow to give up your 3 top picks this year if you are the Chicago Bears. Now, a couple of insiders who have talked to execs have tweeted out what they've been hearing early on. Diana Rossini, one NFL GM, saying probably a 1 plus more. Can't wait for it will be 3 first-round picks crowd. Not happening, this GM says. 1 and a 2, 1 and 2 threes, throw a player in there. So this GM is saying it's not going to be multiple firsts. You're talking about a first, then 2 day 2 picks, maybe throw in like a young player, like I'll just throw a Bears sale. Austin Booker. Here's a first, a second, a third, and Austin Booker. Something like that could be on the table. Again, though, if you don't have to give up 2 first-round picks, like if you keep this year's first, trade next year's, or vice versa, and then throw a couple other picks in there, even a player, I'm pretty interested because Myles Garrett, he's 29, so he's not young, but he's still in his prime, no doubt about it. You're talking about an absolute superstar pass rusher. Like, I like Montez Sweat. Myles Garrett is a far superior player. Like, it is not even close in terms of the tier that these two players are in. Now, Jordan Schultz also hearing this from an executive, quote, I had to give up 2 first-round picks and more to land Myles Garrett. So the early analysis is we don't really know what the value will be. My gut tells me with him turning 30 in December that I don't think you're going to have to do 2 firsts plus more. Now, maybe 2 firsts, that's it, would get the trade done. But we'll see if 10 teams get involved and that price drives up. It certainly could be a possibility, especially if there's a team like, I don't know, like I'm not going to look at every team's cap situation, but if the Bills or the Ravens think he's the final piece to get you to a Super Bowl where you've been close, maybe that team would pay a premium for a player like Myles Garrett. So here's what we're going to do. Coming up, talk about Garrett's fit and obviously the caliber player he is. And then I got 5 trade ideas, just kind of rapid fire, some different packages that would bring him to Chicago that I would be comfortable doing. But first, I do want to tell you guys about today's sponsor. That is Rocket Money, a personal finance app that can help you find and cancel any subscriptions that you no longer want. Lower your certain bills by up to 20% and just help you stay on top of your budget overall. We talk about those subscriptions. When you sync up your bank account with Rocket Money, one thing it'll do is it'll list out all of your subscriptions on one screen, and you'll realize just how much you're paying on a monthly and annual basis. Most Americans think they're spending $62-ish per month on subscriptions. That number is probably closer to $300. Don't believe me? Sign up with Rocket Money. Check out for yourself. The beauty with Rocket Money, though, is with clicking just a few buttons, you can get those subscriptions canceled. They'll kind of serve as a middleman, and you don't have to deal with that back and forth customer service with a certain streaming platform or newspaper that you pay for, or whatever the case may be. Rocket Money is going to help you save money. So get signed up today. Download the app at rocketmoney.com/bears now. All kinds of features that are going to help you save money. Their customers, if you are a member, can save up to $740 per year. Think about what you could do with $700. You could go on a vacation. You could start a college fund. You could just have several nice meals. rocketmoney.com/bears now to download the app today. Use our link and help support us. We appreciate it. Stay on top of your finances with Rocket Money. Okay, so let's talk about Myles Garrett and the possibility with the Chicago Bears. First, you look at this defensive line. Montez Sweat had a disappointing year, but you feel good about him as a player overall. I like Gervon Dexter. He's ascending. Is he ever going to be an all-pro? Probably not, but he's a good starter. Maybe he's a Pro Bowl caliber player in the future. Andrew Billings, in the short term, a guy that can really help you, obviously coming off injury. He's not a huge needle mover, but Ben Johnson himself pointed him out in his press conference, so he's a good player. DeMarcus Walker, I've always said this, he's a number 5 defensive lineman. He can play 3-tech, he can play edge. He should not be a starter. So you get a guy like Myles Garrett, and then you kind of feel pretty good. You add a depth edge rusher probably for cheap in free agency, maybe a defensive tackle as well in the draft or in free agency just to build your depth up. And then all of a sudden, you got Garrett and Sweat on the edge, Dexter, who's going to get a lot of one-on-ones on the interior, who we know he can win those, and Billings, who stuffs the run. Like, that's how good Myles Garrett is. You see the productivity. Like, he changes the entire feel of a positional unit if you add him. Because I would say the Bears, when fully healthy, don't have a horrible D-line, but it's average to below average. with Garrett and everyone fully healthy, it's a top 10 unit, I'd say, kind of easily, especially the starters. I mean, him and Sweat on the edge, one of the better edge combos in the league. Your interior guys, your starters, Dexter and Billings, are at least above average. You get a couple depth pieces in there, you feel pretty damn good about that if you're able to bring in an undisputed top 3 edge rusher. Now, in terms of what the Bears have this year to offer, I mean, what's his name? Matt Miller mentioned it. You got 3 top 41 picks. He said he'd give them all up. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'd rather have one of those picks be next year, though, but I hear what he's saying. You got 72, no fourths, a fifth, a sixth, 2 sevenths. Obviously, you got future picks as well. But that's what you're working with this year. So let's go through some trades. I just cooked up real quick 5 different trade ideas. Bears get Myles Garrett in this first trade. Cleveland gets first this year, the Carolina pick, number 39, and then a second next year. So basically the Matt Miller trade, but instead of your 41 this year, you're trading a future second. I would just like to keep one of those picks for this year because you can add an offensive lineman, or depending what you do in free agency, maybe you get a Caleb Johnson or a running back, or hell, in this scenario, maybe you trade back to try and get like an extra third to at least give yourself some extra draft ammunition in this draft, because obviously you'd be trading your top 2 picks here. Okay, trade idea number 2. Garrett to the Bears. 2 seconds this year, both of them, 39-41. So you keep the number 10 pick, and then a first next year. And you're saying, why would Cleveland say yes to this? Well, to me, if I'm the Browns, I currently have the number 2 pick. If I trade Myles Garrett, I'm just going to draft Abdul Carter at number 2 to replace him. That's my new cornerstone pass rusher. And I want ammunition for 2026 to get a quarterback in that draft. Because if they don't love Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, well, get extra ammo for next year. So you would have your own first next year. You're probably going to be pretty bad. That'll be a top 5, top 10 pick. You have the Bears first next year, who we as Bears fans hope the Bears are awesome, but based on recent history, haven't been a playoff team. Like, better chance than not, if you're a Browns, at least their thinking would be that's at least going to be a top 20 pick. And then you've got ammo to get a quarterback next year. That would be my thought process if I'm Cleveland. Okay, trade idea number 3. Garrett to the Bears, obviously, and then just 2 firsts flat. Number 10 pick this year, first next year. Again, I'd probably rather not do that, but if it was only the 2 ones, I would at least still consider it. Now, maybe in this case, you get like a 4th round pick this year back or something, get like a day 3 pick back, so you at least get some ammo. I'm not sure if that would be in the cards, but that's what that one looks like. To me, if it's 2 ones, I'm probably not offering more than that, like if I'm the Bears. Because remember, any trade I give up for Myles Garrett, I still have to have a plan, if I'm Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson and company, to fulfill this offensive line. Like, if trading for Garrett significantly harms your plans to build the O-line, you can't do it. But I think with these trades and the free agency money you'll have, and will still have, even with the new Garrett contract extension, you can add at least 2 starters in free agency with the combination of Trey Smith, Ronnie Stanley, Drew Dalman, Kevin Zeitler, whoever. And then, again, if you have at least one of those second-round picks, you could probably get someone in that range that can be a starter as well, even if it would be like your 5th starter for this year. Okay, a couple more here. Garrett for number 10, number 41, and then Austin Booker. So, like, if the Browns want to get back a young pass rusher in return to, at least try to develop and fill the void. Obviously, Booker's a talented guy. He's got a ways to go. But, Booker in a vacuum is probably worth, like, middle round, 4th round pick. So maybe it would have to be a 1-2 and then a day 3 pick plus Booker. So something along those lines. Bears got him in the 4th. I would say that's probably 4th, 5th is probably what you're looking at in value there. And then Garrett to the Bears for 2nd this year, the Carolina pick. 1st next year, and then DeMarcus Walker, a more proven player. He could start for Cleveland this year. He's cheap, so it's not like the Browns are taking on a ton of money there. It'd be like $5 million, and he could help them out in the short term to kind of get through next season, obviously, on that front 4. So those are 5 trade ideas I cooked up. Again, I don't know what Cleveland's going to ask for. I don't know how high a bidding war could be. I don't even know if they'll trade for him. I know this. If the Bears added a player like this to their defensive line and could still build the offensive line, you're feeling pretty good heading into next season. If you want Myles Garrett type me in the comment section down below. If you want the Bears to get this done and pull this off, type me in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. My name is Harrison Graham. We will be back this afternoon, 4 o'clock Central. If there's any new updates on Garrett, we'll, of course, pass that along. Some post-Senior Bowl coverage as well. We'll have that covered for you on today's show. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys this afternoon.